I told myself growing up I would never be that kind of guy where I didn't know when to move on to do something else. So for me, that was the point where I was like, all right, it's time to like grow up. But I remember looking outside and just being like, we got to figure something out, get creative.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
No, literally on draft day, my agent texted me. It was like, today's the day. Yeah, I was hearing at worst, sixth round. Yeah, so that was pretty. I was in good spirits.
And how did it go?
Didn't get a call at all.
Didn't go
at all. And I can laugh, I can smile, do all that stuff. Today
had to be gut wrenching though.
Yeah.
That's a field of dreams experience where your dreams are just this close to you, and then you just see them brush right by like a stranger in a crowd.
Yeah. I would say that was probably number one hardest day of my life, and it was one of them days where it's like it took a few days after for it to like settle in.
Did you get any free agent stuff or anything like that, or
no CFL, but nothing NFL. No.
Yeah, we saw the splash page for CFL, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it.
Not too many stats on that page.
No.
So, was it a what next type of situation? Like, well, I'm sure you were hoping to go into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Like, how did that recovery process? How did you pick yourself up from that? I don't want to even say it's defeat because you played 4 years at a top D1 school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you pick yourself off the ground?
Yeah. Well, I ended up getting to the CFL after that, but in between that time period, I was just fighting to try to get a workout in, and trying to stay in shape. And I had a period where you kind of somewhat lose hope, like nothing's gonna happen, and you just kind of stop doing things. And had that period, and eventually just something clicked. My mom was talking to me like, "Hey, like I don't think it's over," so I just start training it again. And usually when my mind is on it, that's when I can do it. So I just got my mind back fixated on the like number one dream that I used to have, and the CFL, that was the next thing. But then there's like another life after that. That was,
So what went on with the CFL?
Yeah, oh my God. So I played corner my whole career, safety, nickel. But basically when I get to the CFL, they put me at linebacker. Linebacker, yeah. And I'm just the tallest DB there, so it was by default. And I remember we were in camp, and it was probably like day 4.
What team?
BC Lions. Yeah. So it's like day 4. I text my coach. I'm like, hey, can I get a shot at my natural position? Like, can I play corner? And he was just like, it's not an option. So it's long story short, I ended up getting cut. And that was when life got serious. Like, I thought life was serious when I didn't get, picked up. But that's when life got serious. They flew us in like all the way there from the airport when I came from Maryland to get to Canada. But I had to leave the next day at 6 a.m. on a van, like 4 hours to the airport. And it's like 6 of us in this van packed up. And I'm looking outside.
And you're all cut. Everybody on the van's cut, so everybody's probably not the most talkative person in the world.
It's funny though, like it's a lot of different personalities. Some people are like optimistic. I'm like a realistic person though. Like the CFL, for the fans that are doing, that's like your second chance at the NFL. So for me, I told myself growing up I would never be that kind of guy where I didn't know when to move on to do something else. So for me, that was the point where I was like, all right, it's time to like grow up. But I remember looking outside and just being like, we got to figure something out, get creative. Yeah.
Now, when you were at Rutgers, did you take your schoolwork? Like, did you graduate and everything, or were you just saying, I'm going to the NFL, I don't have to study?
Well, I took my schoolwork somewhat serious. I did enough to pass. But to your second point, that's how I was thinking as well. Yeah.
So you walked, you graduated.
Yeah, I graduated. Yeah.
With a degree in?
Bachelor of Science in Labor Studies.
So the best thing in the world about playing D1 football, that in my mind, you got your education paid for.
Yeah.
So, no, you didn't?
No, I said, okay.
Oh, okay. So, I was going to say, okay, did they change the rules?
No.
Because that right there puts you ahead in life. And at the time, you don't see it because you didn't get your dream of going into the NFL, even the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
But you understand you got a 4-year degree from a top university for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, now they got NIL money.
Mm-hmm.
Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
These guys are making money hand over fist.
Yeah, that's why I said okay. I feel like it's a lot of perks to that scholarship.
I mean, listen,
I get what
gas,
you're
grass, or ass, nothing's for free. I get that. I understand that. But that is, so you didn't fail.
Oh, no.
You didn't fail. You got a education. Because listen, when I came out of school, after my master's degrees, I was so far in debt that I had this huge hole to climb out of.
Yeah.
And I always say that if you can get out of college without debt, you're already ahead of the game. You already got a leg up.
Praise God.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to ask you before we move on from this nonsense football stuff. Everybody knows about the Eric LeGrand incident.
Mm-hmm.
And I always, obviously it affected the players he played with emotionally, but I always wondered what impact did that have on the program itself?
Yeah. I would just say the way we structured practice. Because, he was a bit before my time. But that injury definitely left an impact as far as, like, structure and layout. Because we would always kind of mention him when it came to, like, camp and just, like, talking safety and stuff like that.
And he was around the program a lot still also, right? Yeah, because I know he's a broadcaster and all that.
Yeah, he's always in the building. Yeah.
We actually were going to have him on the show, believe it or not.
You should.
Well, we got there's some logistical problems. Without being cruel, I mean,
stuff you don't know about. Right?
Yeah, we got stairs. That's a problem. And that chair he's got looks pretty damn heavy, so I'm carrying that stuff up.
But he's doing very well for himself.
Oh, he
just
is.
opened up coffee shops. He's got his own line of whiskey now or bourbon or something like that. He's doing real well.
Yeah, you wanted to, LeGrand Coffee House in Rutgers Stadium.
And Greg Schiano signed him as a free agent to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah, but then he's got to play with Brady.
No, this was long before Brady.
Oh, okay. All right. So the ripple effects of that injury went down the line, not just D1 football, NFL, like who was the guy?
Pop Warner football, little kids football, everybody,
Who's the guy that just had the the name's escaping me.
Oh,
with the heart issue. The
Damon
DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin. That I'll tell you how far that ripple effect came. For the program, who one of your old roommates, Billy Taylor, came from, and that's where my kids play. All of a sudden, they're checking the defibrillator. So I go in the field house, and there's the box. There's no fucking defibrillator in it. So they're like, "Uh-oh, now what?" Like we've been playing. I'm not. I'd look at it. I say, "Okay, there's a defibrillator. It's no problem." There's no defibrillator in it. So the ripple effects of those injuries are always they bother me.
You're gonna beat someone over the head with the box.
That's when the precordial thumb comes in. So your dream has ended. Now what?
Film director.
But was it like?
No. Oh man,
There has to be many different things in between.
Yeah. No, when you said this podcast kind of came about out of boredom, I do kind of understand where you're coming from because that's kind of where the new venture came from too. I was just like stable, and I'm so used to having something to do and keep my mind busy. And one day I was just watching I've always loved movies though my whole life. I've always loved movies. But one day I was watching a bad movie, and this is just some like authentic, realistic stuff I'm about to say. But I'm watching a bad movie, and I'm just like, why can't I try to do this?
I could do better than that.
I could do better than this. And I turned it off, and I was just like, you know what? And yeah, we got a movie.
And then you just started scribbling?
So
were you first of all, how old were you at this time?
24.
You're 24 years old, trying to make your way in this world. Most people will be like, I'll get a job and I'll try to do this on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And was that you?
So yeah, we kind of bring the lineage back a little bit. I did try to get a job and just say, hey, I want to just be stable. But I couldn't imagine just sitting at a desk.
9 to 5 job.
I couldn't do it.
Pushing papers.
Yeah. So I ended up getting fired. So a funny little story is I was supposed to quit my job anyway to go back to the CFL. I actually got another opportunity with Edmonton. And there was some like mix-ups with like visas or something, so I couldn't go. Ended up getting fired, right? Then I moved to Jersey. I was going to be a model. Everybody was like, hey, you should model. So I'm like, okay. I love fashion, so it was like, no brainer, let's go. Couldn't get to New York. I'm in Jersey City. Got a new job, get fired from there. I just could not do it. I was like, people that work remote, right? I'm like, they have to be like faking this. There's no way they're at home working hard. But
Remote work is by far the hardest work.
Because you have to stay focused.
And that's like if I had to walk past a faucet that's leaking and I'm working remote, guess what? I'm not doing work. I'm going to fix the faucet.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's hard. It's hard not to detour.
So that's why I have to physically go to
You hear
a job.
the ice cream truck go by, the bells jingling, you run outside.
But I love my remote job now, though, because I get to divvy off and do what I really want to do.
Right. You need the freedom. But
You have to.
you build a lifestyle around that.
For sure.
Around that job. So when you first got you said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do a movie script, I'm going to write this thing, I can do what these people can do. Your first toe into the water there, when did you hit the reality of like, oh shit, this ain't that easy?
First time trying to write. Because, writing a script, you have to have like different characters. So if you're the sole writer, you have to literally be thinking in different mind frames at the same time.
Put your people in put yourself in people's shoes.
Positions
absolutely.
at the same time to have them bounce off. Because a lot of people have co-writers, so it'll be two people. But that was a big wake up call. But it was fun though. I was like, okay.
And then how did you immerse yourself in the learning process of it?
Of writing, just
writing a screenplay.
Yeah, writing. Well, it was more so I had to just have that moment happen a couple times, and then it's like, okay, let me just really just try to squeeze. And it just got better and better and better, just over time.
Well, your first draft. How much?
The first draft surprisingly wasn't that bad.
Really?
Actually, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't. It was like more formatting issues, but storyline and plot because I just know movies. It wasn't that bad. Yeah.
But then it's trying to get it in the right hands, right?
Yeah.
That's where the difficulties come in.
Yeah. So I think I told you earlier, I'm actually meeting with a producer tomorrow. And that's the right hands for me right now. So, yeah.
Well, if you need some muscle, you want us to rough them up a little bit.
we know people.
People. Listen, you're going to give Damon this deal.
Well, you had a big Rutgers graduate that was a big actor too, James Gandolfini.
That's right.
But he's not around anymore. You can't lean on him.
Yeah. Just don't go that direction. Have a heart attack at 50. It's just not a good look, especially in Italy. But how many times did you have to put this in front of people? Well, let me back up a second because you got this beautiful script written, and I guess you got to be careful. It's your intellectual property.
Yeah.
So when you hand it off to people, do you make them sign an NDA or something like that?
Yeah. So I got it copywritten.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah.
See?
Someone take your idea and run with it.
I went to a networking event in New York City, and this Italian guy actually told me, he was like, yeah, that's like first thing, get it copywritten. So, yeah.
Well, there's several different ways. I mean, you can do the official copyright, but I think these days intellectual property falls under if they can prove that it was your idea. Even back in the day, they proved that movie ideas were thought up in another way, and people sued and got rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that happened to Matt Cox.
Yeah.
So one of our friends, he's a criminal. He calls himself a criminal. He was actually number one on FBI's most wanted list, but he started writing when he was in prison. Yeah. And what was the movie? War Dogs. So Matt Cox wrote War Dogs while he was in prison.
That's your friend.
That's friend's a loose term.
Associate.
He's the only guy. He's the only criminal who I know, and we know a lot of them. He's the only criminal that I know that I'm genuinely afraid of. And Matt is like a slightly taller than a little person. I mean, he's a little guy, very unassuming, very meek.
That's exactly what I was going to say, unassuming.
He's very meek, but he will rob you blind and have you thank him for it because he's a financial genius. He just sort of figures stuff out.
Finances, okay.
Yeah, so
I had a totally different picture in my mind.
No, he's not a thug.
Mortgage.
Okay.
He's not a thug, but he defrauded. They don't even know how much money he stole, but they think it's upwards of $50 million
from the mortgage business.
And then when he went on the run, he developed a way to make fake IDs and fake identities, and then he would call the people looking for him, the FBI looking for him, and say, "You're never catch." Just taunting them.
Have you seen Catch Me If You Can?
Of course,
Yeah.
that same
Sounds like that,
James Abagnale. Yes, very very similar,
Yeah,
very similar. And he was on episodes of Locked Up or not Locked Up Abroad. What was it? One of those criminal shows on TV. But he's an interesting guy. But he's the only criminal that I know that I'm genuinely afraid of. Because I walked out of his house. We did his show, him and I. Walked out of his house, and I checked my wallet.
Listen, we've had mafia hitmen in here, and I feel more comfortable around them than Matt Cox.
Y'all bold.
100%. 100%. Because I could see those guys coming a mile away. This guy you'll never see coming. Like while he was on the run too, he went to traffic school. He flew out of the country. Like he did. His life's insane.
Yeah.
But it's that ability to pivot and turn when necessary that I think is your gift. You had this very broad dream, and it seemed like a reality. Like it's not like you were far fetched. You were not that little league. You're not that little league kid who hits his first home runs. I'm going to play Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
You were playing at a top level, and now you're left out in the cold, and you just developed this new thing, and it seems to have come into some sort of passion for you.
Oh, it is.
Because I hear you talking about it, and I hear you talking about it with such zest and verve. It's actually kind of. I think I'm going to write a script tonight.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to be able to like cross over and kind of, because I be telling people now like football, like that used to be my world for sure, but like film now, that is like the new football. Definitely.
Well, we were saying that before. That's the athlete in you. That's the no quit attitude.
Yeah.
In
Exactly,
athletics, you can't quit.
Yeah.
Now you just put your passion to something different, and now you're running with that ball.
Exactly.
Well, that's the funny thing. We see it a lot in high level athletes, especially in college athletes. So if you get to the college level in athletics, you're coachable. Okay, you will learn. You're a sponge. You know how to take direction.
Yeah.
And that usually carries on into the business world. So did you have any mentors trying to help you along, or were you just all on your own?
With this right here?
Yeah, with the film making.
The creative space is not really as collaborative as you think. But it makes sense though, because it's such a delicate form of art, seriously. So no, I mean I have a few that help, but there's always to like a certain extent. But me going through this process, I definitely understand that notion, because it's so like what I create, I kind of really want to be really particular with like who's a part of that, if that makes sense. So no, but
they have to share your creative vision in some manner.
The people involved with my creative vision,
Yeah.
But from the jump, I would say YouTube and books, like no other.
God, you guys are so lucky with this damn YouTube.
Seriously, we like people. I don't think people would take advantage. Like it's literally like a teacher. Seriously,
you look up anything, how to tie a shoe, something as basic as that. There's 5 million videos, on how to tie a shoe.
For sure.
We had to learn.
Yeah, you had to go to the library and read a book about it, and now you can actually watch a video, but you can absorb that information a little bit more, and you can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah.
That's why the sneakers I buy now don't have laces, so they just pull on, because I didn't have YouTube to learn how to tie a shoe.
So I have, Damon, I'm going to give you a little window into your future.
Okay.
So as you start approaching 50, because I'm almost 50 and he's over 50.
All right.
Be 57 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Okay, yeah.
Happy birthday. You will be 57 by the time this
I'll
airs.
be 57 in a month by the time this airs.
One of the things that teaches you're getting older, you cease buying shoes with shoelaces.
Say it one more time.
You cease buying shoes with shoelaces. Yes. Yeah. There you go. I'm still holding on because my Adidas shells have shoelaces.
Yeah.
So I'm Run DMC all the way. So, but what those people that helped you out, and that's why I don't understand that. That's what I do love about the podcasting world, as opposed to your industry, because there's only so much space in your industry. Where the podcasting world, there's so much room for everybody to collaborate. And, you go on my show, I'll go on your show, and we'll cross-promote each other. Yeah. And that doesn't seem to happen in that entertainment industry.
No. It's really hard, and there's a lot of people that want to stay there forever, too, so it's tough.
Well, that's you have one hit movie, and then what's next? Sophomore Curse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
So now, when you're writing like a screenplay, that's your baby, right? Is it almost like a micromanaging thing where you don't want anybody to put their hands in, or you just want to do it yourself, and then there comes a time when you ask for help for someone?